That's the ultimate. If you have a business where your team is figuring out what to do without being told every step of the way, that's the only way you can grow a business really big.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. I'm building this practice analysis, and you know what I realize as I work more and more with the Elite Accelerator clients is that, doctors actually do pretty well with their practice. And what happens is they get going on their practice, and then something that probably should take 6 steps because they do it all the time, they drop it down to 3 steps because they're so in the groove of it.
Yeah.
And then they build their practice, and then they turn around and they try and train it to somebody else. And what we hear all the time is it doesn't work and it doesn't work. And what I say to them is that if you have a system, like with AMI, when you have a system, if you speed it up and take steps out of it because you can do it faster, when you try and duplicate that, it never duplicates, which is why it never works. And so I talk to them about being a leader, is that ability to actually put a system in and keep it in with the steps and then duplicate that system. With
Being a leader, and I went through this when we converted our first practice, and it was pretty tough on me because I was so used to being in charge of everything clinical. And then all of a sudden I found I couldn't be everything clinical, and then I wanted to get other people to do it, so we had to have it so they could figure it out. That's the ultimate. If you have a business where your team is figuring out what to do without being told every step of the way, that's the only way you can grow a business really big. Yeah. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
I know when I was doing it, I had to go back and look and see what was I doing that was just me winging it, and what was I doing that was actually necessary to get the result.
Yeah.
And that is the difficult part of creating a system. That's what we've done with our systems.
I guess that's a good way of saying it, winging it. Where what I find with a lot of doctors is that they've been doing it for so long that they have so much data in their head that they're able to wing it and make it happen.
Yeah.
And then they teach the wing it to somebody who has none of the background data, and they can never figure out why it doesn't work. And this is where we always hear, I can't find good people. Nobody seems to be able to do as good as me. And you know what? It's all because they didn't stop, or let's say a person doesn't stop and figure out all the steps to it. Like here, let's talk about making coffee. Or let's talk about stamps. So the other day I had somebody say, I said to one of the team members, I want you to type up how to actually print stamps from the United States Postal Office, right? That kind of thing. And so she typed it up, and it was like, okay, great, the stamps. And I said, all right, good, give it to somebody to do. And the first thing they came up was like, well, what's the password to the account? And she's like, well, won't they know the password to the account? I'm like, but do you see, you do it every day. All these simplicities can't be duplicated. So we had a good laugh over it. It took like 3 or 4 times through for her to realize all of the things that she thought were so everybody knows kind of thing, to get them on paper. Only then can you actually duplicate yourself. And if you can't duplicate yourself, you can't grow your practice.
That is exactly what I went through, that exact process. Because
I was with you on this, remember, with those systems?
I was trying to do stuff and going, well, when you go in and close somebody, you just go in and say blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't always go that way. And I had to start looking at, well, what was I saying? And why was I saying it? What was it in response to? And you have to isolate those things and make it so that it is duplicatable. Otherwise, you're always going to be complaining about your staff.
AMI sales program. You actually unpacked the whole sales process and you put it into a sales process. That's why the AMI sales program is, I've never seen such an incredible process of asking questions of a patient in a way that the patient says, what can you do to help me?
Yeah, our system is beautiful because it consistently helps people double, triple, and quadruple their income in the first 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And we do that pretty standardly. When it doesn't happen, we're like, what went wrong?
Yeah.
Because
the only thing that goes wrong is they leave a step out.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Literally, that's it. That's the only thing. And it's interesting because we have a process, a system that we use on our quality control lines, where we have clients send over, they do a 10-chart analysis. They don't put patient names or anything on there. It's just a 10-chart analysis. Like that, we can pick up where they change the system. Usually they shorten it because they have such experience that they feel they can leave a piece out that's not necessary.
Yeah.
But when they go to duplicate it with a case manager, what happens?
Right, it doesn't happen.
Doesn't work.
Because something comes up that was different and it doesn't work.
Doesn't work, exactly, because a piece got left out. Exactly, yeah. So that is, I forgot about that you completely unpacked that sales process and we have it down to a science.
Well, here's another part of that that's pretty important is role-playing and training, because I'm still shocked when I ask an audience of business owners, how many of you role play and train in your office every week? And it's like less than 10%. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you expect your employees and your staff to even know anything to do if you never go over it with them, like this is how it's going to go when you're in there? Yeah. Almost every business in corporate America role plays and trains. Yeah. I did when I was in corporate America. That's how I got started in corporate America.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I realized that when you have, think of it this way, you're a doctor, you've been in your practice for 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it is, you do things a certain way. You've taken something that should be 10 steps, you've dropped it down to 3 steps. You stand in front of a group of people and say, now let's role play. And you give them the 3 steps, and they all stand and stare at you. And in your head, you've almost forgotten the other 7 steps.
Right.
And so it's such a loss to role play because they don't get an effect.
Yeah.
Whereas with the AMI systems, we give them so exact that you can role play that so exact.
Yeah.
So the doctor, a lot of the AMI systems, which is the hiring system, the onboarding of new employees, the sales system,
Yep.
right, the marketing system.
Or even the rehab system. We train on the rehab system,
right
how to
about that.
diagnose upper crossover syndrome, how to treat upper crossover syndrome.
Yep.
And you got to be able to be aware of those things and practice them to be good at it.
Yeah.
And it's a great program.
So we actually give it to you completely unpacked so you can just role play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole system, yeah. I forget sometimes we don't step back and take a look at the whole program and go,
We kind of
wow.
do it. We've been doing it so long that we've
hacked it.
we know, well, we know how it works. We make sure people role play. Even in our company right now, every morning they're role playing. Every morning they're role playing.
Yeah, totally.
So instead of leaving it to chance.
Yeah, totally.